Hi, loves. So I've been getting channeled Selena for like the past week now. I keep seeing shirts of her and I keep hearing that song, Bitty Bitty Bum Bum. So we're gonna do her reading, especially because yesterday's collective message. I forgot she was a Latina Mexican band. So let's go ahead and get in this. Some of you guys may be from Texas. Shout out to Texas. Okay, I ain't never been there. But let's go ahead and get into your reading. We're only going to go over the basics of her reading. We're not going to get into the depths of the nakshatras or any of the D charts. But we're just going to do this D1 chart. So her name is Selena, and she was born April 16th of 1971. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so let's go ahead and get in and talk about all this over here. So it looks like they don't have her correct date of birth, the time she was born. That's why it goes like that, but she was fired up. So with her sun in the Aries, Sun in Aries is a person who is big on self-development, self-discovery. Okay, not really self-mastery. This is kind of like starting things and then going to the next thing. This is like the trailblazer here with expression. She probably found many different ways to express herself through music, through clothes, any way possibly that she could, through different instruments, through makeup, in any artistic way or any way where she was able to express herself in different areas, because Aries is talks about being a warrior, and it's Mars, and it talks about ambition. So when it came to her self-expression, she was very ambitious about starting and learning or discovering new ways to express herself as an individual. Now with her moon in Sagittarius, this lets me know that she loved traveling, really did something for her heart and for her soul. Traveling was very important to her. Philosophy might have even been very important to her. Higher education could have been important to her. Okay, since we don't really know which houses it's in because they don't know the time of birth, this is what a birth chart would look like if you don't know your house placements. I mean, if you don't know your time of birth, that's why it's important to know your time of birth. Okay? But with the moon is our inner world, and with it being in Sagittarius, she was probably very optimistic. Again, with the way, for example, the lady who actually murdered her, she was very optimistic and kind and loving, and just, had faith that everyone had this bright big heart as she did. And the truth is, not everyone has that. I've even had to learn that lesson personally myself. I'm very unfortunate, but it's very true. With Mercury and Aries in retrograde, she had to rethink constantly, especially if it was something that she wanted to study or take something further. She might have had trouble concentrating. Okay, I have Mercury and Aries. It's hard for me to concentrate. Like, it takes me 30 minutes to get focused, and then if somebody even like chews or pops bubblegum, I just get irritated and I'll lose concentration. So I have to be alone. I literally can't be around anyone when I'm studying. I like to be in solitude when I study. So with Mercury and Aries in retrograde, she might have started a lot of things and not finished them, or kind of just skimmed through things and not really read into the deep depths of it, unless it was something that really, inspired her or sparked her ambition. Now with her Venus in Aquarius, okay, this lets me know that she had a desire for everyone to kind of be more in a collective state, everyone to be in harmony with each other while still expressing themselves. She believed in community. Community was very important to her, and she desired to be part of a community. Okay. With this Venus in Aquarius, there could have been aspects of herself where she just desired to be alone and in her own world, ready to express who she was, kind of like in her own little world here with Aquarius. Because Aquarius people can be very detached. They have lots of connections. This also meant that people from large groups or large companies were attracted to her because she had this pull here, because Venus is our desires. And as you guys know, you don't have to chase your desires. Your desires come to you after you unlock them and have mastered them. Now, with her Mars and Sagittarius, this was not somebody you wanted to play with. This was not somebody you wanted to play with. Her anger would be like out of this world, Mars and Sagittarius. I feel like it would take a lot to get her angry as an individual with Mars and Sagittarius. It's kind of like seeing the bigger picture of everything, and arguments, not really petty arguments. You know how some people can sit there and argue. It's kind of like seeing the bigger picture, being a free spirit, and being open to different opportunities coming in her life. With Jupiter and Scorpio, this means she was blessed spiritually. She had a very strong intuition, and with it in retrograde, she probably had a lot of individuals or from her belief system that made her doubt or even not trust her intuition here with it in Jupiter, Scorpio in the retrograde, and it's not really developed. She's kind of still developing it because it's in a medium degree with 12 degrees. This isn't really mastered. This is like something that's being created. So she was learning to listen to her own intuition. Now with Saturn in Aries, this kind of restricted her from expressing herself. She could have had a father figure who restricted her from exploring different ways of expressing herself in self-development. She could have had, or even a mother figure who was just very strong and restricted her in a lot of areas of her life, but this helped her grow and stick to one ambition, especially when it came to herself. But there was still an aspect of herself she felt like she kind of really could never really express, because she was always trying to gather up the strength, the confidence, and the fire to express herself as an individual. Now with Uranus and Virgo in retrograde, this means she dealt with a lot of unexpected anxiety here, or she was surrounded by people who had really bad chronic anxiety. She could have dealt with unexpected criticism from others, or she could have unexpectedly criticized others here and had to rethink about reorganizing all the chaos that could have been in her life, because Uranus is like unexpected energy. It's the rebel energy. So she had to pay attention to the details of speech, okay? And she also probably had to teach a lot of individuals about the way she wished to speak and express herself as an individual. Now with Neptune in the sign of Scorpio, this lets me know right here that she might have dealt with depression here with the in retrograde. With it being at the 9-degree octane, she could have had a lot of unseen enemies, per se. She could have definitely had psychic abilities with Neptune and Scorpio. This is a placement that talks about hidden enemies as well within the dream realm. So she could have had like lots of she could have dreamed a lot about, she could have had like predictions. She could have predicted things, but they still weren't kind of clear because Neptune is kind of foggy. And once again, this leads to her intuition, her not trusting her intuition because it kind of being blurred. And unless she actually took the time to isolate and tune into that, she would really never access this unconscious power here. With it being in Scorpio, because Scorpio is silent and Neptune is like foggy. So it's just like she had this silent, foggy intuition, and she had to rethink it a lot of times with it in retrograde. Or this could have been individuals that try to fog, like I said, or make her second guess her intuition. With Pluto and Virgo in retrograde, this talks about her having to constantly rebuild the way that she communicated, the way that she was reading, or the way that she was learning, expressing, the way that she was creating her routine, her health diet. She was constantly reanalyzing and rethinking about different ways that would help benefit her. And every time she did go reanalyze or revitalize with this Virgo and Pluto placement, it helped her become better in the services that she brought here to Earth. Because we all have a service that we bring to Mother Earth. And with her reanalyzing, she learned a lot from paying attention to the details and the criticisms of others. With our North Node in Capricorn, she was destined to be famous here with it in retrograde. She probably struggled with wanting to, with it in retrograde, this means she probably struggled with wanting to be at home and be in her own world while still having to go out, still having this pull and desire to be involved in being known in the world with this Capricorn energy here. Like I said, with all this fire, it's kind of hard to contain fire. So with it being in the earth sign, she had to learn to be more structured, more disciplined, and more practical, especially when it came to her long-term goals. Now with her Lilith and Virgo here, this means she might not even have been consciously aware of how critical she could have been to others. This could have just been an unconscious part of her that she developed from being around individuals who tried to play power pools on her. This could have been a shadow aspect. That's why she attracted these individuals into her life who were kind of, because Virgo can become obsessive. Virgo can overthink and overanalyze over and over and over again. And this is why she made, with Lilith being the unconscious and the darkest parts of our psyche, this is what she attracted because this is what she had deep within her psyche unconsciously. Now with Chiron in Pisces, she may have a wounded faith, a wounded belief system here, okay? Or this could have been like even abuse. She could have attracted individuals who had addictions, okay? Alcohol addictions, pill addictions, sex addiction. She could have attracted individuals with addictions if she didn't portray this as a quality of herself. This could have been one of her parents as well with Pisces. She could attract a lot of people, hidden enemies from her past life, that she kind of just had to learn to love unconditionally, and the wounds were never really gonna go away. She also could have had struggled with having a strong belief system. This is how this could aspect. I'm not saying this is how she was, but she could have kind of doubted the ability of being provided for by God, or she could have had individuals in her life who doubted that. Now with her ascendant in Aries, boy oh boy, this is a lot of fire. She was lit up. She could have been very competitive in any field that she went into. Very competitive when it came to who she was and how she wished to express herself. And other people, she could have attracted a lot of people who wanted to compete with her, or who just felt like she needed to fight for her place and she didn't deserve it. People not acknowledging all the work that she actually puts in, and them kind of discrediting the work that she puts in, okay? With Libra as in the descendant sign, since we don't really know the house, this just talks about her having blessed partnerships and relationships, but also having blessed partner and relationships that could be very superficial. So people could have been surrounded by her only for this fiery, enthusiastic, ambitious energy she brought in. Individuals could have surrounded her with that. It also talks about her having contracts with individuals who helped bring fire to her fire. Say if her fire was kind of low, say she had like a blue fire. I'm imagining like a blue fire. There would be individuals who would come with orange or yellow or red fire and help flame her up back into the leader that she needed to be, or the expression that she needed to express while she was here. Now with her second house in Taurus, this is big blessing. This talks about large amounts of wealth, her cultivating it and appreciating it, and her really valuing peace. Because the second house is a house of values, okay? Traditions were very important to her family, and peace was very important as well. But this can also talk about gluttony, overindulgence, having power-hungry people around her, people wanting to use her for money because she's valued, she was cherished, and blessings just kind of came to her with the second house in Taurus. This talks about her having to learn lessons with the Saturn and Aries about being loyal to herself before kind of being loyal to everyone else. Now, with Gemini in the third house and her media environment, this talks about her dealing with a lot of two-faced people. People who express one part of themselves but had another part of themselves hidden. This also talks about her learning deeply from her environment and allowing her environment to help her become the individual that she needed to be. With it in Gemini, this talks about siblings. So her siblings played a major part in her. Those siblings were the ones who helped feed her fire, and how it was important. She felt important to keep her siblings around. Her family was very important to her. With her IC, this talks about the roots, okay? So her IC in Cancer, once again, this points out why her family was so important to her. Her roots were important to her. Her belief system was important to her. Her mother was very important to her. Her mother helped her in so many ways, especially when it came to her career, in the way that she expressed herself. With this IC in Cancer here, this talks about having strong roots, okay? Getting strong strength from the mother here with the IC and Cancer. Now, with her 8th house in Scorpio, this talks about her inheriting things, and this also talks about people doing black magic. This talks about having a deeper understanding of the mystical things in life that many people are afraid to even be aware of. This talks about her having no veil here, but this can also talk about these things being hidden from her with Scorpio in the 8th house. This could also talk about envy, her attracting envious people, okay? Her attracting people who are obsessed with her in her finances and what it is that she's inherited. With her 9th house in Sagittarius, this talks about her being a philosopher. She could be very dogmatic in or very stuck on just one ideology, or it could be the other way where she doesn't just stick to one ideology and she's just open to many different facets of life. She's a truth seeker, more of like a hippie spirit, okay? More accepting of others in different walks of life. With her MC and Capricorn, once again, she was just destined for fame. Her North node was in Capricorn. Her MC was in Capricorn. She was just destined to be known publicly worldwide. With her 5th house in the sign of Leo here, this talks about, it's not her houses because they don't really know the date, but this is what they have if it was the B houses. Okay, you guys. With Leo being in that 5th house right there, this would be like a very playful, youthful spirit. Okay, y'all, so this is as good as this can get because she doesn't have any houses. So this lets me know that they don't know the time of her birth. It's not on the website. Her family didn't release that. So like I said, that occult knowledge, they didn't want that out. As you can see, it's not there. Okay, so I'm going to leave this here for you guys. If you guys want to book a birth chart reading with me, you can do that at LaVonsDivineTouch.com. Thank you for tuning in with me. Don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and take care, loves.